somebody told him. That is Trump's reason tonight for repeating a flagrant lie about migrants.
I was just saying what was reported. That's been reported, and eating other things too that they're not supposed to be. But this is all I do is report. I have not. I was there. I'm going to be there, and we're going to take a look, and I'll give you a full report when I do. But that's been in the newspapers and reported pretty broadly.
Coleman and Naira are back with us. Scott, are you satisfied with that answer?
No.
It's false.
No,
It says it's being reported.
No, look. The facts of the immigration system in the United States are bad enough that you don't have to dip into stories that you can't verify or that have been proven not to be true. That's what I think. I think if he stuck to the facts of what they did on day one to reverse all of his policies, the verified numbers of people that have come into this country, the number of violent people that have been into this country that we just have roaming around, any societal and governance impacts that all this illegal immigration has caused, he'd be perfectly fine.
So just
Right,
the
that's
next,
logical.
Well,
Right, that's
Okay,
logical.
but the next step on it is the fact that he keeps doing this. Does that doesn't bother you either?
Yeah, like I said, if I were being asked about this and I were a candidate for public office, I would say, here are the facts of the system. The facts ought to outrage you. Please vote for me.
This is a little bit different than just broadly, Trump forgetting things and not sourcing things correctly and just making ish up all the time. This is a very targeted situation for a very specific community that is here legally. Now, we can disagree about whether or not they should be here, but they are here legally. The governor of Ohio has said multiple times that this community in particular has been a gift to companies that needed workers. They have been hardworking. This is literally what Reagan used to talk about when he talked about immigration, about hardworking people who can boost the economy. There is a demand for undocumented workers in this country that is not being addressed by the executive branch of both parties. But those are
I
facts.
think I understand why he's saying it, though. I saw a play last night here at the Lincoln Center Theater called McNeil. It's about AI. Robert Downey Jr. is in it. At the end of the play, it's about AI rewriting things. There was a phrase that I really like called a truthful lie, which is, I heard it somewhere. It's an absolute lie, but he somehow thinks it's the truth, so he thinks he's telling the truth. And so I honestly don't know if he's willfully doing it, but
I don't think he's. You said you don't think Trump is willful.
I think he
When
is.
he's been
I
told
think he's
repeatedly
addled.
that it's not
Frankly, I
true.
think he's addled, and he's heard stories. He reminds me of my mom, like an elderly person who's going, "I heard it. It was
I
said."
gotta defend your mom here.
Okay, but I have to say, no, my mom does it all the time. She's like, "I heard it this, and it's not true. Sorry, but she does. It's the way it is." I'm going to do
I
it.
think it's
dementia
willful.
argument.
It's
I think
nice
it's
to
willful.
hear.
I don't think he's addled at all. I think it's willful.
Okay.
It is what the bigger the lie, the more they believe.
But
That
I
is the
think
whole authoritative.
what they have is a tiny grain of
it's a
issues
fascist
around
playbook.
immigration, and then they take a lie, and then there's a tiny bit of truth that people have issues with immigration, and turn it
Yeah,
as the
people have
feeling.
issues with immigration,
Right.
but he is purposely lying to.
But
She's
she's asking
purposely
why.
lying
I think she's
It's
asking
not an
why.
accident.
Why?
that it
Because
goes,
people believe it.
and it's not an
The more
accident.
you lie, the more they believe. That is in
That's
the
propaganda.
fact the propaganda playbook. If you make it simple, repeat it over and over until it gets to a point where he believes it. He did it today in the economic summit. I know a guy who's going to rebuild his auto plant in America. If I put the tariffs on, there's this guy, there's this mythical person, that tells him.
Sir, he said
I
to
heard
me,
someone said this. I think I read it somewhere. Somebody said this mythical person that tells him that this lie is true. And as long as I didn't say it, it's
Can
obfuscation.
I add one more to the invasion? This is actually from J.D. Vance. This is what he said today of all days for whatever reason.
On the election of 2020, I've answered this question directly a million times. No. I think there are serious problems in 2020. So did Donald Trump lose the election? Not by the words that I would use. Okay? What the media will do, they'll focus on the court cases or they'll focus on some crazy conspiracy theory. What verifiably I know happened is that in 2020, large technology companies censored Americans from talking about things like the Hunter Biden laptop story, and that had a major, major consequence on the election.
Because we all know that Hunter Biden laptop
That's quite a
voter
turn of phrase.
was gonna make a
It was-
difference.
but it was
by the,
important.
not by the words I would use. Did he win or lose? I mean, that is a really.
There's been, I've noticed the past 2 years, there's a certain kind of Republican that knows Trump lost the election, but is uncomfortable saying that outright, so pivots to the very real issue. He's correct that the Hunter Biden laptop story was nerfed on social media, and that's something that that should absolutely be taken seriously.
But then he takes
But they've
the
pivoted
second
to
part.
that to say, actually, it's not so wrong that he lost the election. When really, it is wrong. He lost the election, but also there was this
Yes, but
really
It's
unnerving.
just that they don't
They're
give it to the
not-
fact that he lost the election and then tried to overthrow the
It
government.
is not. They're not.
He lost the election.
This is
You
what
lost
he's
the election,
doing
but
with
tried to
this
overthrow the
idea of a
government.
truthful lie. There is no proof that tech companies colluded to do this. This is nonsense, and he knows it.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry.
there
Scott,
was a
will
major
crank on you here on tech.
institutional effort.
No, there
to
was
suppress that
absolutely.
story.
Listen, I have been one of the biggest critics of tech. This is nonsense, absolutely nonsense. And when he just sort of discounts, the court cases, dozens
Wasn't the
and
New York
dozens of
Post
them.
thrown off Twitter?
They were, and then they. Scott, let me try again to explain to you what actually happened.
She's
They
an
made a
actual
mistake.
reporting on
I
it.
I know,
actually
and I
Let me
lived through
just
it
say-
too.
I-
They
guess
threw
what?
the New York Post
And-
threw the story off Twitter.
Scott,
Let's let
Scott,
Kara finish because
literally
she's
don't know
actually
what you're
done.
talking
I mean,
about,
she's
so
done
it's
the work.
really hard to deal with
You
you.
would insult me? Go ahead.
No,
Laugh through it.
I'm not insulting you. I don't know why you keep repeating things that aren't true.
Did they get thrown off Twitter?
They
It's
did,
true.
and then they said that we made a mistake, and they put them right back
That
on,
was after the
just like CNN does, just like the New York Times does. It wasn't after the election; it was during the time, and they switched. Jack Dorsey switched. So I think what the issue is you think Twitter is the government. You think Twitter is running things, and there's not this wide collusion. But J.D. Vance knows that because he's worked in tech. He knows there is no such thing as big tech. There are big tech companies. They do not collude on this
That's
issue.
fair.
But what
I
they
think-
do collude on, and here's the Peter Thiels of the world and Elon Musk, as we see him now randomly, because apparently someone thinks that Elon Musk will turn out voters in Pennsylvania. They are messaging and marketing together as
On Twitter.
individuals.
By the way, I'm
that-
fine with that. If he wanted to buy that and
against
use
the
it as a
idea of
propaganda
democracy.
tool,
Right? Their argument is that trust us as founders. We are billionaire founders. We are so smart. These are
From
J.D.
South
Vance's
Africa,
friends.
no less.
Right, as opposed to trust the system of democracy. They are trying to
Look,
get people
He can do
against
that.
it.
Listen, I mean, it's a private platform. He can do whatever he wants.
The Hunter Biden issue, it was suppressed, and at the same time it was being suppressed, every supposed expert, intelligence expert in the Democratic Party assured the American people that this was a Russian disinformation story. They worked hand in glove.
We don't-
That's
listen.
what happened.
Scott, we don't have time to litigate the Hunter Biden story, but all I will say about that is that there's a huge leap from the story was suppressed to that information would have turned the election for Trump,
And
and
listen,
I think that
You get no argument from
no
me?
Republican has bridged that gap, and which is an important
You get
gap
no
to
argument
bridge.
from me?
And does that justify insurrection?
Our-
That's a disqualifier for me. They tried to overthrow the government when they didn't get the result in the election.
that is part two of it, and we cannot forget about that. Everyone, hold on.